You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Great to have you with us here on 702. I trust and hope that you are well this morning. Hello, if you are watching us on YouTube, you can go to the 702 YouTube page to watch and listen to the show at the same time. You are welcome to comment on any conversation we're having on the show on the YouTube page. I often go and drag some of your comments from there and read them. The open line starts now on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Stay in your lane. That's the message from the unions to the KZN Provincial Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. They're unhappy with the statement that he made, suggesting that South Africa's rising unemployment rate is the result of unions constantly pushing for higher pay for their members. Mkhwanazi made these statements during the KZN Premier's stakeholder engagement on crime prevention. In fact, let's hear from the horse's mouth. Here's what he said about this issue.
To 19,000. But the population is growing and we are going down more. Thanks to who? The unions. Labor people who said we want salaries for our employees. So the more government employment increase salaries is the lesser they employ. So the lesser they employ, the more crime they get. So we need to really interrogate and ask this thing. Prima, you said this country is going down in front of our eyes. The reality is we've got too many things that are wrong in our country that contribute. Labor laws are one of those. I can tell you that one. We moved to 25,000 employees. It was paying me to look at the NUMSA's Secretary General yesterday talking about the closures of UDA. So when we have companies that are starting to shut down, you need to ask yourself, and many of them shutting down in the country, the higher the salary we need, the lesser the employment. And it's a reality. We can't avoid it, but it's a fact. We must face it, it is there. And we experience it in the police, and so is everyone. Now, therefore, we have to employ other means to try and balance this. Because if you don't have a person, that means we must employ a camera to help us to see at least. If we don't have a person, we must employ cars so that you can have more vehicles patrolling to cover the areas that people were not normally supposed to cover. And all these things need money. That is unfortunate reality. So it's the truth that I'm glad we're all here that we have to face as we're talking to each other. We are yours and we need you to guide us. If we are not behaving well, discipline us. If you're not fit for a job, fire us because we are employed by you. We not have a guarantee that we can be in this job forever. You need to chase us away if you're not delivering.
What do you think of that? COSATU and SAFTU and other unions are up in arms. They're saying that General Mkhwanazi should stick to issues of policing. He must not scapegoat organized labor for a crisis that they say is rooted in government policies and structural flaws that are inherited from apartheid. Do you think we have a crisis of unemployment because employees get paid too much at the insistence of unions? And should government focus more on employing people than on increasing salaries and ensuring that there are fair wages? Because that's the argument, essentially, that General Mkhwanazi is making. Let me know your thoughts. So I think, first of all, I don't think Mkhwanazi was wrong to raise this issue of unemployment if he contextualized it within the police, drawing from his observation and experience. But unions don't only exist to push for salary increases. They exist to protect us as employees from exploitation, to protect workers' rights. And yes, there have been cases where unions have demanded ridiculous and ambitious wage increases, but they have also pushed for increases to ensure that there are fair wages. Let me know what you think of what the KZN Police Commissioner has said, and also what you think of what the unions are saying here. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good morning, Clement and 702 team. Salamina from Pretoria. I think General Mkhwanazi has a fair point. I work for government, and generally speaking, majority of the people in government are overpaid because they literally do a fraction of the work that is expected of them to do. And when annual increase time comes, those people are there with the unions marching for an increase when the production of it all is not necessarily there. So I kind of get where he's coming from. Perhaps, yes, he did step out of line and should have just focused on police matters. But he has a fair point. Actually, he genuinely has a fair point.
And should government...
Hi, Clement. It's Vincent in Westland. Look, man, there's a saying which says, and I quote, instead of having champagne for the few, let us have drinking water for all. In my view, I think the unions are overdoing things, and by so doing, they are chasing away even companies in the private sector because of these high salaries and so forth and so on. Companies are no longer reluctant to employ people because of higher wages. Yes, I'm in a public sector, and I believe that if wages are somehow cut and reduced, we need to employ more people for service delivery to unfold smoothly. So indeed, the labor unions and these solidarity organizations are crippling service delivery by requiring higher wages for public servants. That's my saying.
Yeah, but also, then how do you ensure that they're fair wages? Because there are public servants that are overworked, public servants that are doing, let's take the police, for instance, since we're talking about the police commissioner. There are some police officers that you would argue at some point were overworked. They were doing extra hours. They were not feeling safe. And the intervention of unions have somehow helped in that regard. So if you are not going to have unions pushing for wage increases, then you are going to have police officers that are underpaid, and as a result, people don't want to join the force, or people who are in the force, the morale is so low, they are not encouraged, and that's not going to help us because we need them energized, we need them to be productive. Now, again, I premise this by saying that I do think that unions, there have been instances where unions have been ridiculous in their demands. I've criticized some union leaders some years back when they would go out, even, it's not just in government, but even in mining companies where they're asking for wage increases and they promise their members that, don't worry, we're going to get you 15,000 Rand. And actually, people go on strike and they lose money while on strike, and the unions are not able to negotiate that huge amount of increase that they want. And then you've got people who have actually lost so much money while they were on strike. They stayed away from work. So I do think that there are instances where unions have asked and demanded far too more than what even some companies can afford. And that can have an impact on unemployment. But I don't think then you look at unions as problematic like that fundamentally in as far as the issue of unemployment is concerned. I think as the unions have actually said themselves, the issue is more nuanced and structural than that. What do you think, Dumisani, in Germiston? Hi.
Hi, morning. How are you?
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm saying that as much as I respect Mkhwanazi, but it's out of line here. I mean, we need the SAPS or law enforcement need incentives. They need a decent wages, and we need a well capacitated workforce, well equipped and well resourced law enforcement or SAPS. So all these are packages. You can't leave one alone. We can't take one alone. So we need this. All of this, that is incentive and also a well-paid staff, so that they can do the job as much as we like them, as a public, we like them to do. Because if they're ill-paid, there will be a lot of corruption. I mean, they'll find ways to make money that is out of the line. So we need well-paid, decent. They must be paid. There must be a decent wage. As much as we, as the public, we need a wage increase each and every year. Also, the public servant also need an increase each and every year.
Yeah, but what's the return on that investment, Misani? Because mostly in the private sector, your salary increase is often linked to your performance. I mean, in government, you've got a union that comes and just negotiates for whoever is a member of that union, whether those people are performing or not.
I mean, the government and the unions, they must sit down and find ways to incentivize, to make the workers work productively. We can't say that no, because they are not working or they are lazy, and then they mustn't get increase, because we will be proving chaos.
Okay, Tumisani in Germiston, thank you so much for your thoughts.
Clement, unions are like EFF supporters. They can agree with you in so many things, but when we talk about their boss, they will insult you. Mkhwanazi is right about unions. Unions are destroying everything in this country. Unions are making lot of money, millions every month. What are the unions doing to create employment in South Africa? They are destroying jobs. They are not creating jobs. Mkhwanazi is right.
Hi, Clement. Chris here in Johannesburg. I think it is not the territory of General Mkhwanazi to be talking about the wage bill of the government and all that. I don't think it is his territory. That's the main thing. However, he's not that wrong. President Thabo Mbeki said this many years ago when he started. I think he was still the deputy president, and the unions were up in arms. They wanted a certain percentage increase for the civil servants. And Thabo Mbeki said, fine, we can give it, but you must know that will employ more and more less people. You know, we won't be able to employ people. So we can give it, but it compromises employment in the civil sector, in the public sector. Thank you.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
27 minutes after 9 o'clock. Moses, you're in Rockville, Soweto. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Good morning, sir. General Mkhwanazi has got his fingers on the pulse as far as this matter is concerned. I speak here with the benefit of inside information because I was a civil servant for 36 years. Mm-hmm. Right now, the issue with civil servants is covered car parkings in all the institutions, whether they are schools, clinics, whatever. What does that tell you? They have cars, they are able to live a very comfortable lifestyle. And I don't get this thing of a low salary because when the posts are advertised, salaries are there, excluding the benefits. And there are so much benefits there. If I'm not mistaken, the minimum housing subsidy, housing allowance, there's subsidy and allowance, there's a difference. Those who are staying in back rooms, they simply submit that I'm a tenant at Clement's house and all the details. And they get something like 1.5.
Is it all public officials?
Yes, it applies across. We're not talking about housing subsidies for those with bonded houses. I'm talking about somebody who stays in a back room. Gets 1.5 as an allowance on top of their salaries.
Really? Okay. Let me check that. Yeah, Moses, thank you for your call in Rockville. Do all public officials have housing allowance? I mean, I know like medical aid, maybe some of it subsidized. I wasn't so sure about housing allowance. Moses says, yes, even if you live in a back room, you can still get like a 1.5. Please let me know if that's really the case. If you agree with what Moses is saying and you're in the public sector, you can advise on that, please. But yeah, Moses, thank you so much for that. Here's another question on us before we head to the news, and then we'll come back with more of your calls on WhatsApps. Let me ask it this way. How intentional are you about starting a family? Or how intentional are you about being strategic about how many children you want? Because it looks like we're having fewer and fewer children. And I wonder if you are one of those contributing to the fertility decline. And I want to know what has shaped your decision to have or not to have kids. So in July, Stats SA revealed that South Africa's fertility rate has steadily declined over the years from an average of 2.78 children per woman. That was in 2008. We are now in 2025. We're at 2.21 children per woman. In fact, some people have suggested that some of the causes of the decline speak to economic and social realities that are shaping people's choices. So, are you one of those that are contributing to the fertility decline, and what has shaped your decision to have children if you have them? Maybe you decided, I want 1, I want 2, I want 3. Or are you a type of person that's not dictated to by the economic times as to how many children you want? Or are you one person that has decided not to have kids? And what have been your reasons for that? Is it purely for, is it socio-economic issues? Is it because you've never really wanted to have children? Let me know. 011-883-0702. Send me a WhatsApp as well on 072-702-1702.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line. Are you one of those that are intentional about having fewer children, given the economic and social realities that we are confronted with? That's the question I'm asking you. Stats SA had revealed that, South Africa's fertility rate is steadily declining, and it's been declining over the years. So 2008, there was an average of 2.78 children per woman, and now in 2025, it's 2.21 children per woman. And I wonder if you have been quite intentional. Are you contributing to the fertility decline, and what has shaped your decision to have or not have the kids? I'm also asking you about the comments that the KZN Police Commissioner, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, made, suggesting that South Africa's rising unemployment rate is a result of unions constantly pushing for higher pay for their members. The unions are up in arms. They're saying that Mkhwanazi should stick to issues of policing. They said, stay in your lane. They said he must not scapegoat organized labor for a crisis that is rooted in government policies and structural flaws inherited from apartheid. What do you think about that? Let's start with your WhatsApp voice notes on the fertility rate that's been declining.
Hi, Clement. Great show. Can I just remain anonymous for this one? On the issue of the decline in birth rates, personally on my side, I only have 2 kids, my eldest being 9 and my youngest being almost 5, and I am 34. The reason being that I feel like it's very expensive raising kids, and the tax on it, the emotional tax, the physical tax, and making sure that I can actually be present for both my children, equally present. I know it's not necessarily the case every time, but just to make sure that I am present for my children. But I think another thing is, I think a lot of women now realize that we are in control of when we have kids. So my husband knows that the only time we will have another child is if I say I am ready to have another child. Until then, we are going to be a family of 4, and it suits us fine right now. Also financially, we're able to do so many things for our kids. So yeah, I think it's actually going to decline even further going forward.
Me and my husband got married young, and initially we wanted 4 kids, but the older we get and the more we see, the reality of, the cost of things and everything else in between, the cost of education, all of those things. And we've just narrowed it down to 1. We went from wanting 4 kids to we have 1 kid, and we are keeping it that way because it is getting very expensive to have more than 2 children, especially in the current economic climate that we also find ourselves in.
Mkhwanazi is right. The government's labor force is bloated, it's highly overpaid, and it's lazy, or rather incompetent. And I feel that anybody who feels that he was out of step or wrong for saying what he said is people that are supporting this corrupt functioning by unions. We all know it's a known fact that anybody who wants to have when they think of Yazin, if I can just get a good job, they always think of government because they know they're going to get highly paid for doing nothing.
Oh, hi, Clement. It's Katleho from Davidson. With regards to your topic, I think we'll be discussing later on regarding having kids. I'm 37 now, and I don't have kids yet because one of my concerns has always been that for now, financially, I'm not stable. And now I'm nearing my 40s, and I don't see having kids maybe in the next 2 years if things don't stabilize the way I want them. So I am the one also, or I'm the one who's also contributing to the stats dropping because I haven't had kids yet.
Yeah. In these economic times, people are becoming more and more intentional about curating families. It's expensive to raise children, guys. It's really expensive. I always get surprised when I see people with 4, 5 children. In this economy, guys. But hey, households are not the same. But I do think that I'm getting a sense that these tough economic times seem to be part of the reason why people are reconsidering and are intentional about curating their families and deciding on how many children they have. 19 minutes before 10.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Ryan, you're calling from Randbeck. What do you want to say about these statements made by General Mkhwanazi? Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners. And thank you for the show. It's always so interesting, your topics that you bring up.
Thank you.
So it's a bit of a controversial opinion, and I just want to make a brief comment on the General's actual comments, and I'll bring in my opinion. So, you know, you get different levels of policemen and obviously of government workers, and I think that the lower levels are probably do need the support of the unions to have a fair wage and to enforce the protection that they need. I do believe, and I agree with most of your listeners and people who've commented on the WhatsApp, that many government employees are way overpaid for doing too little. And I think this brings me to the point I'm making. The crux of the issue, and just to give you a bit of background, my father has run a labor law consultancy business for 25 years. And the main issue that he's come across over and over again is that it is almost impossible in this country to actually adequately and properly discipline people who are not performing and who are lazy and who actually just do not do their work. And that is simply because the labor laws of this country are too loose. I'm not for one second advocating that we should have something like we have in the United States, where you can walk into your job and then you can walk out the back door the next day and get fired. But I do believe that it is way too difficult to discipline people. If you look at the government departments, I don't believe, first of all, that they're having performance appraisals. If they were, I do believe that there's not enough discipline that is going on inside those departments to ensure that the right people are being employed. If you have the right people, I don't mind paying them what they're being paid, because they deserve to be paid a fair wage for the labor. But if you have, and this is what results in unemployment. So the biggest reason my father says that big companies, private organizations are not building new factories, employing new workers, is because they are scared that they hire somebody or many people that become poor laborers, and they are unable to discipline them and, for want of a better word, get rid of those poor laborers and hire the right people, because the labor laws are just too protectionist, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Ryan in Randbeck, thank you so much for your contribution. Let's hear what the others think. Bosch in Soweto, hi.
Good morning, Clement.
Sure.
Good. Mr. Clement, I would like to differ with Mr. Mkhwanazi. Yes, we know his portfolio falls under police. So when he talks of the labor, I don't think like it is his expertise to talk about that. Because remember, Mr. Clement, without unions, workers will be exploited at a place. Like now, I think the only reason why unions demand increases for the employees, because when they see the CEOs, the chairman of the companies, how much they take home. So not so long ago, Mr. Clement, we talked about the chief of army who went to Iran and made some utterances that were not even involved in his portfolio. So with this, as far as I know, Mr. Mkhwanazi, he's not a labor expert or something. So the reason why we don't see growth in South Africa is because of the high unemployment. It's because our education is not forward-paced. So we are being taught to go to grade R until grade 12. After that, you go to university. Then after, you look for a job. So if we were to copy China, what is teaching the people there is that we give you a skill so that tomorrow you run your own business. Then by doing that, we increases the employment will increase, because everyone will be participating in the economy. So you cannot say now, Mr. Clement, I have a bond now, I'm struggling to pay my bond. And I don't think like I'm earning a lot of money, but my salary is around maybe 10 or more. But if you were to say to me, we're going to decrease your salary so that we can employ more people, what's going to happen to me? Because I have a house, I I have a kid that I'm taking to school.
Yeah.
So Mr. Mkhwanazi is out of order. Sorry to say that.
Right, Abosh in Soweto, thank you for your thoughts. Anthony in Cape Town, hi.
Hello, Clement.
Sure.
First time caller.
Welcome.
I think that the problem with the unions and demands are that they have two memberships with the alliance with the ANC. So on the one side, they've got a disastrous economic policy that prevents the economy from growing properly, like 1% in the last 10 years. And on the other hand, they're putting pressure on companies to pay more wages in an environment where nothing is growing business-wise.
Anthony in Cape Town, thank you. Now in Pretoria, good morning.
Good morning. You talking to me?
Yes, now go ahead.
Clement?
Sure.
Oh, yes. Good morning. Yes. What I sort of like agree with the commissioner on one portion, one part of it, but the other portion as well, I'm going to contrast to what he said. I don't know if you remember the SAA, not the current one, the previous SAA, whereby it was brought on its knees by union striking to a point whereby they ran out of money, everything else. And then it had to be rebuilt from the ground. So for me, that is actually a show of strength of unions whereby they destroy, a going concern company to a point whereby it comes to its knees. And for me, I think that since that we have gained independence, we need to sort of try to strike a balance in between capitalism and looking after the employees to an extent that we can have more work being created, more people more investors investing in the economy. Because if we go into more and more towards the left, as that other young man spoke about his father who is in the labor working industry, it shows that people are scared to invest. And this is, for me, that's just the way the economy has been shrinking, year in, year out. And if you look now, in the Eastern Cape, I think a good year is closing, and I don't know who else again that was going to be closing very soon. And purely because of the way we doing things, we're still dealing with employee issues, as if we're still in apartheid. We should be looking at things differently. Say, okay, fine, we've attained independence. How do we strike a balance to make sure that this economy grows?
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, contrasting what Mkhwanazi said, I've got a childhood friend of mine that works for a company that develops the cold fridge, the mobile, cold fridge and all these things, mortuaries thing. And it's quite a big company. And I remember him calling me over to his company to come and speak to them. And literally, and I'm not a union person, I'm an anti-union. Literally they stopped me from chatting to them. They were asking things that are proper, like for instance what do you call this, the pension that was installed last year, just to try to explain to them how it works, because they were not aware of how it works. And and the more people are talking about things that they are thinking, there's sort of a mistrust between the employees and the employer. And if we can try to balance the gap between the two, whereby as an employer, I engage my employees, make them aware. This is coming in, this is how it is. Let them have a more knowledge on it than getting a hearsay, because hearsay is more dangerous.
Yeah, got it. Now in Pretoria, thank you. It's 10 minutes before 10.
Voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
8 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Good morning, Clement. Once more, on the matter of having children. I got my firstborn when I was in grade 11, my secondborn when I was grade 12, my thirdborn when I was in first year varsity, my fourthborn when I was on my third year varsity, and then my lastborn when I started working. I'm 40 years now, but I no longer want anything to do with children. They are very expensive. At the same time, I wish I can have a little one, because those ones I got them when I was immature, I believe. Luvuyo Krasmir.
Luvuyo, who took care of your kids? Your firstborn, you were in grade 11? Who was taking care? And then third born in adversity. Who's taking care of your children? Oh, Bosebenza, were you working part-time? Yo. Wow.
Good morning, Clement and the team. In my case, originally I wanted 2 children. Even until now, I still want 2 children. I'm currently having only 1 kid, a boy. So, but due to my financial status currently, it doesn't allow me to have more than 1 child. But should any time from now, I have an opportunity where I have financial muscle, I will definitely go for a second child. But that will be the last. Yeah, I think 2 children for me is what I'm looking for. But currently, I'm still having 1 due to financial strength. This is GP in GP.
You know what I wish? I wish like there was a system, and this is going to make me sound like a terrible person, but hear me out. You know I'm not a terrible person. But I'm often conflicted when it comes to kids, because I always think, like, these people have to like live with me in my house for like the rest of their lives. What happens when I'm tired of them? Okay, fine. Maybe I can go away somewhere for a week or a weekend to take a break, but always, and I know it's weird, maybe some people don't think about this, but that's what I think about. Like, I think about what's going to happen when I'm just exhausted and I need space from my children, because I feel like I will need that. So I wish there was a system where maybe like when they turn a particular age, like you send them through there, and then especially when they are older, when they are getting into their teens. Or maybe the answer to that is that send them to boarding school. Probably a better option there. But I really struggle with the idea that I'm going to be living with little ones who are going to be making noise. And I mean, they'll be loving, of course, but there are instances where I'll also probably need space. What am I going to do with them? Actually, I think boarding school is probably the answer for me.
Morning, Clement. With regards to your topic of declining in having children, I think I'm a great contributor of that as well. I had my first when I was 30, and for 5 years I was a single mom, and I met my husband, and when I was 40 I had my second. She's now 10, and yeah, I agree with your first caller. Having kids, it's emotionally expensive. I thought after marriage, when you have kids, it's going to be different. I think it's the same thing as when you are a single parent. Some men out there don't step up as we expect them to. So that was mainly my reason of not having more kids. But I'm turning 50 next year. I'm also afraid that I'm going to have another one, which will be a scandal. Thank you. Bye.
Good morning, Clement. Hope you well. Yo, Clement, this situation of kids, I have 2 boys, and I feel I'm 2 boys enough, no more. Right. Now, the problem that I have is that I get the hint from time to time from my wife that she wouldn't mind having another one. And I've made it clear to her that I do not want any more kids. But the problem then becomes that I don't have control over that. And the only reason why we have not had another child from my wife is that she's currently still studying. And I know that the moment she finishes studying, I'm in a mix. And really, the reason why I haven't really been able to go for the vasectomy route is that financially I cannot afford it. And it gives me stress every day. So yeah, if there's any 702 lender there that's willing to sponsor me with the vasectomy surgery, hey, I'm game. Please reach out. Thank you very much.
But you still need to talk to your wife before you go and do a vasectomy. Is she going to be happy with that? Or the other option is just keep her studying. Like when she's done with these studies, just encourage her to study something different. That way then you're delaying the process. I just think kids are expensive, but also I just think kids are exhausting. Like, yeah, and does it count? Can we count like pets also as like offsprings? Because like Aussie is a lot. Like the dog at home is a lot, you know, and I just feel like already I've got a firstborn. Like there are responsibilities that come with that. So maybe, yeah, for me, I'm constantly having to deal with that stress. And I'm like, can you imagine having kids? That's probably going to be worse than this. Yo. Also, if you're out there, you want to sponsor a vasectomy for this chap, shout out. It's a 1 minute before 10.